quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough.
Stop, that's
it's really gross. I'm sorry, everyone. Hopefully that didn't turn you off listening to the Lion Stone podcast. It is a beautiful Wednesday. I'm joined by my co-host, Pat.
Hello.
And I apparently am doing the intro now.
you just stole it off me. I was halfway through doing it.
Do you want to do it?
No, we just did it. That's fine.
Okay,
That's
very
fine.
good.
All
All right.
right.
Have to start again.
No. So it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, my dudes. And
You don't know what that is, just YouTube.
Go look it up.
Wednesday, my dude.
is that he had the Spider-Man glasses on?
Yeah. That dude is iconic. You know, like he did that video every Wednesday consecutively for like months on end on Vine.
Oh, well, it's like your daily vlogging.
Yes.
His is far easier than yours, though.
Speaking of my daily vlogging, I'm back on it.
TikTok.com/Matt
Matt Lamborn.
Lamborn.
I'm just going to record something right here in the camera of the podcast because, you know, it's not like we're doing anything.
No, we just chat shit.
Just chat shit, exactly.
So we have a few topics, or one big topic we want to talk about today, and that's limiting beliefs. But before we get there, we're going to just do our usual, chat a bit of shit, because I haven't seen you since...
Last Wednesday.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah, I was... Oh, no, I saw you yesterday briefly.
Did you? Oh, yeah.
I came in.
You came in very
I
early.
came into some meetings.
Can you turn my headphones up a little bit more?
Yeah. Oh, I turned up number 3, that's why.
Yeah. That's a bit better.
Is that better?
Yeah, now I can hear myself.
Can you hear me?
So over the last week, I have done not much. I've
I
trained.
feel like that's bullshit. I feel like you do a lot.
I've done a lot of stuff, but like non-work stuff, not much. I started watching Steven Seagal movies.
Oh, Stephen!
Have you seen them?
No, I just know Brendan Favola where he pretended Steven Seagal! Oh, Stephen!
Where he's drunk, yeah. But Steven Seagal movies, man, there's some trash. Some
Really?
really good trash. Like if you want to watch a movie that's really bad that makes it good, any Steven Seagal movie from like
Really?
post like 2000.
Isn't Steven Seagal like a black belt in karate?
No, Aikido.
Aikido.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
he's a black belt in karate as well. I think he's definitely a bad motherfucker.
I think that's a load of shit. I think Steven
Really?
Seagal has let's Google it now.
Isn't he the only person like to be recognized as a sensei in Japan? Like he's the only one who can teach at a high level in Japan. Man, I've listened to Joe Rogan. I know stuff
Marshall.
about Steven.
So no, you're right. He's in karate, aikido, and judo. But apparently, from what I've seen is that he's not that great,
Oh.
and he has a massive ego. And whenever he does movies with stunt doubles, he likes to challenge them to fights, and they're all usually black belts in judo. And there was one story where he's like, put me in your best headlock, I'll be able to get out of it. And then this stunt double got Steven Seagal in a headlock, and Steven had to tap, and that just like shot his ego down. Like,
You know what's really funny?
What?
I have a story about this.
Go on.
So in grade 4, I started doing Taekwondo, and
me too.
and I said I'd been like 3 weeks into it, so I was the best. And I was at school one day, and I was talking to my friend he was my friend, but we would fuck around with each other a little bit. Like we would spend time like one-upping each other.
Yeah.
Like we were almost enemies. And, like if we were to separate us at that point and we both went our separate ways and met up 20 years time at like the Pokemon World Championships or something, that would be us. So his name was Brad. So Brad and I were walking along, like the bell was ringing, so the music was playing. We were heading back to class and we were walking along, and he was like fucking with me for some reason. And I was like, punch me anywhere and I'll be able to block it. Punch me anywhere and I'll be able to block it. So Brad, from a rough background, turns around and king hits me in the temple. I start crying. And he was like, what the fuck you were meant to block? I said, not in my temple. I can block anywhere but there. And apparently doing this. And if you're just listening, I just did like a Taekwondo block. Isn't actually what you're meant to do. You're not meant to slow it down and do the block. It's meant to be really fucking quick. So I got king hit, and I started crying, and I told a teacher on him.
You ratted on him.
Yeah,
even though-
fuck yeah, dude. I'm a snake.
right.
So yeah, call me Steven.
Steven.
Hello, Steven.
Yeah, I don't think I've got any stories like that, but Steven's movies are very, very bad. He does a lot of like special forces movies where he's like the sole special forces guy in the world, and they make
so
him
he plays the same character in every movie.
exactly. It's like a power fantasy for him that he gets to play these special forces guys. But they put him in these scenarios where it's like, man, you're like 100 kilos overweight and your body armor is like 3 sizes too small, and you just look like a fucking goose. They get stunt doubles anytime there's a scene of him walking up the stairs. Stunt double.
Can I get a stunt double just to walk up the stairs for me?
Well, there's a movie, I can't remember the name of it, but like you see him doing his like all his fighting and stuff at the beginning, and then there's a scene where one of his other soldiers gets shot, and he's got to sit in a room with him while they come rescue him. And there's a whole 20 minutes with a scene of him just sitting on the chair talking. He says like 3 lines, and that's it. And anytime there's a stunt double walking up the stairs, you never see the face.
Oh my god!
Anytime there's like a because he mumbles his lines, they get him come back in a sound studio, and they dub his lines, but not in any other language, back in English.
I love the English dub of Steven Seagal movies. I only watch my Seagal movies in the dub, not the sub.
Yeah,
You listen to the original, it's just
that's what he's like.
it's like he's talking like a sim.
Yeah, that's what he's like. Yeah, apparently he's a real piece of shit. Like he's
Apparently he's a dirtbag.
yeah, huge ego and doesn't like women. There's a movie where he started.
What did you just put that in there for?
Well, I think he's a bit of an abuser, but you know,
Man, why are they gonna ruin it?
he starts a movie. Within like 5 minutes of the movie, he scored a threesome. Like he set this up for himself.
It just looks like you look at the end of the credits and it says directed by, produced by, written by.
he part owns the company.
Oh no, shit, he does.
Yeah. So someone else funds it, and he part owns the company.
It's like the guy who buys the nightclub just so he can talk to women.
That's what it's like. And then the sex scene
genius.
is the women are naked, but Steven Seagal is fully clothed.
Just like a good man should be. It's respectful. Well, he doesn't want to show that sloppy rig. Just whispering in the girls, I'm a black belt in action. I don't do my own stunts. No, Hugh Jackman can't come to the party. It's a Steven Seagal party. There's actually a lot of cases of people who, especially these days, a lot of cases of like different martial arts clubs giving out black belts to people who probably shouldn't deserve them. Like they give them out quite freely.
Just for like publicity?
For publicity, especially for MMA fighters, like they'll be given a belt so they can show notoriety in like the sport. And like there's a couple of UFC fighters who are like purple belts or brown belts, which is high.
It's like one below, is it not?
So purple, brown, black.
Right.
And to get to that level, like black belt is usually 10 years worth of jiu-jitsu, right? And there's a couple of UFC fighters who are at that like purple and brown level that are just not at that level. Like a purple and brown belt at my academy will fuck you up. Like, catch you later. Like you're in trouble.
Yours is it the Planet?
10th Planet.
That's
Shout out Eddie Bravo.
Eddie Bravos, yeah.
So they're killers anyway. But like compared to some of like I don't want to just talk shit about other clubs, but there is a lot of people who are just have gotten it via association, and it's kind of frustrating because at 10th Planet we don't wear belts, right? Because it's all no-gi. Like you wouldn't be able to tell who's what belt
Until they're on top of you beating the shit out of you.
Yeah, but even like, some of the blue belts will do that to you, or the white belts, man. Fuck, I'm a white belt. Everyone does that to me, but I like it because you don't see the hierarchy. You don't see this person's a black belt. They're gonna fuck you up. It's like, no, you're just rolling with someone and they're better than you. So yeah, a lot of people get away with fucking shit like
Well, it's like honorary degrees and stuff like that. Do you want to bump me up a little bit too? I'm a little bit quiet, I think. But yeah, well, fucking Jesus. No, I think it's just my headphones are really, really loud. That's fine. It's like the honorary degrees that people get.
arts degrees.
Sorry, any artists out there?
Arts degrees isn't artists. Did
Isn't
you know?
it?
No.
Bro, I didn't go to uni. Look at me.
An arts degree isn't art, like isn't actual fine art. If you're doing a degree in fine art, that's like artistry and shit. But an arts degree is not a fucking...
What is it?
It's like you can choose like political science, or you can choose...
How is political science arts?
Yeah, well...
Political's all scumbags. You're all a bunch of dirtbags.
Tell people who do arts degrees.
You're all scumbags.
You heard it here first from the two personal trainers who you guys went to University of Melbourne, did an arts degree, and you're a scumbag.
Shout out AIF.
Australian Institute of Fitness. Shout out to my shout out to Vast Fitness Academy.
Do
There
it
you go.
again.
Yeah, please cut that out.
Oh, okay.
It's a reckless podcast today. We
It
are
is.
having a great time.
It is.
Yeah, so I haven't seen you in a week. I've been in a business seminar learning about business.
Yep.
It was pretty good. That's all. But there was a fair bit about limiting beliefs on there, and I came in with a limiting belief this morning, and
Yeah.
I've tried to rectify it. So I film daily vlogs. If you don't know, now you know. Didn't finish the rest of the lyrics there. So I film daily vlogs, and I do it simply because I want to tell better stories, right? So learning to tell a better story for me is a hobby, and it's been a busy week. Like last week was like 4, 12, 15-hour days, and I've just been washed out afterwards. And coming back into it, I'm like, I won't film the vlog today. I won't do the vlog today. I'll take a break. And I was thinking when I walked, and I was sorry, fucking Anna, you okay? Can't speak. Fucking hell. So I was driving to the gym to come and do the podcast this morning, and I was like, I need to get a bottle of water. And I also had a Red Bull, but I didn't know Pat got me this beautiful 3D drink. Tastes like a Solo. So I was driving, and I was like, oh, no, I'm feeding myself bullshit. I caught myself out, and I was like, oh, no, yes, I am busy, but literally pulling out my phone and just recording exactly what I'm doing isn't any harder. So, I'm just telling myself bullshit. So I'm like, all right, the vlog starts from Woolworths today. It's going to do a quick one, and I'm going to talk about writing a new path, essentially. So I walked in here to Pat, and I was like, I'm pretty tired. I didn't do a vlog yesterday, and I was going to put off today. And I said, I caught myself out, and it's a limiting belief. Pardon me. And I think we all have them, and they all catch us way off guard, but we don't notice it. That's the fucked thing, right? So you notice limiting beliefs in other people when they're tired. Like when someone's tired, they are irrational. Like they don't make sense, and they don't have the same motivation and optimism as a well-slept person who hasn't been flogging themselves. That sounds bad. Fucking hell.
Lots of endless flogging happening at Matt's house.
So I called myself out on it today, and that's a very powerful thing to be able to do, is realize your own bullshit and the lies that you tell yourself. Because I was just saying, I don't have time, blah, 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 blah. No, I just wasn't prioritizing what I want to prioritize. And in reality, I do have a fair few things going on. 3 businesses coming up to Black Friday. My other business is pumping right now and still coaching at the same time and all what have you. And realizing that I was feeding myself bullshit was kind of humbling. So I thought it would be a good conversation to talk about, and especially when it comes to training, because people will feed themselves bullshit around this time of year when there's social events, when there's McDonald's is easier than cooking dinner on your way home from a late night at work, or just not going to the gym. So what do you think? How often do you encounter limiting beliefs in yourself, and how do you kind of get around them if you do?
I don't really have many limiting beliefs often that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I was going to say bullshit. I'll call you out on them right now.
Yeah. I think it's more, if we're talking about the training side of things, I think it comes back to more a bit of laziness than it does limiting belief. Because I know I can go home and cook the food. But last night, I was here till 8 and I didn't have my food prepped. So I said, Brie, hey, can you cook my pasta for me when I get home? She didn't. She had a glass and half of wine.
She didn't.
She was fucking mortal at home.
She's a tiny girl as well. Well, 1.5 glasses of wine. Is she okay this morning?
She was fine this morning. Last night, she was ready to go, and then she just fell asleep promptly. I didn't eat. I was like, I can't be fucked cooking. I didn't have McDonald's, though.
Hey, that's a big win.
I just went to bed.
I had sleep for dinner.
Yeah, so in that sense, I don't really have limiting beliefs, because training for me is just training. I just go move the weight, eat the food, so on and so forth. In terms of probably one limiting belief we've spoken about a lot is that I don't think I have anything profound to say. We've spoken about this before,
No, we haven't.
haven't we?
No.
When I come on the podcast and I'm like, I just chat shit.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm listening.
Oh, I thought you were going to interject and say something nice there, but that's fine.
I'm going to. I'm just waiting for you to finish your fucking sentence, you goober.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that's started to change now that the dynamic of the podcast has shifted a bit to where it's less structured and routine and we just chat shit and then things come out more naturally. But yeah, that's probably my biggest limiting belief.
That you don't have anything profound to say.
Yeah, or people care that when I like about what I say. But
When was the first time you felt like no one cared about what you said?
it's not a fucking therapy session. Jesus Christ.
No, but that's a really good point. And yes, we have mentioned it before, but I wanted you to say it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one thing that we went through when we essentially took over the podcast from Reese, who's not here today. Unfortunately, couldn't join us. He is out. Where is he this week? Oh no, I know. He's at a paint and sip. So you know, Reese, who doesn't drink, he's
out there drinking the paint.
He's drinking paint and painting himself actually. So it's a paint and sip where you just sit in front of a mirror and you have to paint
Reese
yourself.
is at home in the bathroom painting himself drinking.
Finger painting. Yeah, so when we took over hosting the podcast, we were like, oh, what do we talk about? What do we talk about? And we still kind of do it sometimes. We were like, all right, today we're going to talk about this. But I had a very firm belief that it will be better if we just have a really good conversation. And then it doesn't feel forced. Because I feel like so many fitness podcasts these days are like, well, Pat, what do you think about tracking macros? Oh, yes, protein, very important. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
And I would rather stick a cactus in between my toes and have someone put a sledgehammer and a nail into my toenails than listen to that. That was gruesome.
Yeah, it was a bit gruesome.
But I would rather that than listen to something like that. So a fitness podcast where we were like, okay, well, how do we kind of position ourselves in the market of podcasts? And we're like, well, let's just have a really fucking good conversation with our personalities in it. So I think that was empowering for you because I said to you, I was like, I don't care about what you know. I care about who you are. And because I like to have a good conversation with who you are, not just what you know. Because honestly, man, I don't care about facts. Or I don't care about I do care about facts. I'd rather, mind you, never let facts get in the way of a good story.
Yes.
That is me on my daily vlog when I forget to film something. So I just put something from the morning and the afternoon and be like, ha ha, ha ha.
Storytelling 101.
Yeah. So that's, but when we kind of had that shift, it became a lot more natural to talk on the podcast. I reckon if you go back and listen to one of the first podcasts that you and Reese did versus and you would just sit in the corner and not say anything. You're like, I'm here.
Yeah.
I was told to be at the podcast at 9.
Yeah, here I am.
I'm here.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people don't know, unless you've gone back and watched the older podcasts.
Which I assume you all have.
No, a lot of people haven't. That's the thing.
They're dedicated fans, Pat.
Oh, yeah.
We've got 1,500 subscribers on YouTube. Shout out to my YouTube subscribers. Shout out the boys in the pen.
I think we might have deleted those ones, to be fair.
Yeah.
The old ones, I think they were when we got this place, there were a few that are still up, when we introduced Sam and stuff.
When you did the podcast on Reese's spare bedroom.
That was his office where he got a desk that was way too big for the fucking room.
There was no sunlight.
No.
It was just dark.
Yeah, but I was drunk for those first few episodes.
Yeah, see, what are you drinking for? You don't have to drink.
Because I was nervous. Because I'd never done it before.
Yeah, that's fair.
We did, the first episode we recorded, it took 2 takes because Reese was like, welcome to the Limestone Podcast, everyone. My name is Reese, and I'm joined by my co-host, Pat. Pat, how are you? And I just sat there like this.
I am a totem pole.
I didn't say a word. And he just looks at me and he's like, we have to start again.
You know what would have been funnier?
What?
If you set up a TV, right? And we're like, it's Reese, and I'm joined by my co-host, Pat, who is playing Crash Bandicoot. And he only talks when he's playing video games. And you're like, yay, hey, how you going? What are you playing? Crash.
No, we have full authority to do that too, by the way.
Play video games?
Yeah. He came up with that idea. We have the we got the PlayStation.
Yeah, but you know what? I want a Switch. Do you have a Switch?
No.
Okay, never mind then.
We can look at we can ask Dad if he can.
Can we
buy us one.
expense one?
Yeah. I've
we
got the card
Because
details.
I want to play the new Pokemon game.
Yeah.
Have you seen the way that you get around? It's like you ride a
bike.
a bike Pokemon.
Yeah.
But it has wheels, but it uses its legs to move. Have you seen that? It uses its legs to move, but it's got wheels.
Yeah, I can't tell you the last Pokemon game I played, but we have.
I could tell you.
Yeah, all of them, right?
Pokemon Gold.
Isn't that from like the
Hell yeah.
early
This is the only
2000s?
one that's got me like, I want to play it again.
Right.
Even though it's like 10 FPS.
Yeah. Well, we can play them. We can do a whole nother show where we play it. That's fine. Whatever. We've got the HD capture stuff anyway. It's at my house for some reason, but I borrowed it. Never brought it back. But yeah,
I think that's called stealing.
stealing. Yes. Shout out LTL.
Shout out Limestone. I'm not wearing a hat.
No, mate, I pilfered.
you are?
I pilfered all of these. Cover my hands in honey and stick to whatever I can to it. Sticky finger all
Oh,
them.
and the sticky bandits. Leave
Yeah.
the tap running when you leave.
That's it. I don't have any clothes that I actually own. I just steal them all from downstairs.
Well, you know, you win some, you lose some, Reese.
Should have put a lock on it. But yeah, in terms of limiting beliefs, yeah, that's probably my biggest one was initially when I started the podcast. But it's changed now that it's kind of, even though we're still a relatively very small podcast,
No, we're huge.
huge, fucking massive, $100 million Spotify deal.
I just meant like physically.
Oh, that too, yeah.
That's all.
But there's people that like. There's one person that watches us religiously that messaged me yesterday, like, "Where's the podcast?" And I'm like, "It's Tuesday. That's tomorrow." And she's like, "Oh, okay. I'll wait.
Really?
Yeah, I'll wait till tomorrow."
That's cool.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, people actually respect what we have to say."
Oh, for sure, man.
And I
We
like
are
that.
fucking hilarious. Yeah, I joke. Like, at the end of the day, like, people want to listen. In my opinion, people want to listen to a really good conversation,
Mm.
and people want to listen to a conversation that is not their normal conversation, and that's why podcasting is so popular.
Mm.
Like, how often would I be able to get into a room with someone like Joe Rogan and listen to him talk to like Mark Zuckerberg? Never.
Yeah,
Never, right?
Yeah.
Never in, like, unless I don't know, something happens. Doesn't matter. But it would never put me in that situation.
Mm.
And like listening to something on YouTube versus like listening to something just in my headphones, it's so different. So like people listening to our conversations probably in some element would feel similar. Like, oh, I don't get to listen to two mildly handsome.
it's our podcast. We can say whatever the
Strong-
fuck we want.
Strong 8s, 7.5 wet. Talk about fitness, life, and what have you. And like, if that's the case for some people and they listen to it and they enjoy it, then we're doing our job,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
No,
like,
you're right. You're right.
with your humor was always set for podcasts. I knew this from day one. Like since we since I knew you and Reese mentioned that you wanted to do a podcast, like I knew it from day one that you are suited for content and you're suited for podcasting if you just got out of your own fucking way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was a big one. But now on like for TikTok and stuff as well, that do you want a fat ass? Like
that
that
was good.
video. I think that was one of your door open moments. And you're like, oh fuck. Like what, how many, 500,000 people or
Yeah, like 280,000 or something.
quarter of
like
a million people watched your video
that.
all the way through?
Yeah.
Like, if that's not validation,
Yeah, you're right.
and we're not on fucking vanity metrics of likes and views, but it does help when you're like, oh, even if people didn't like what I said, they still listened. So that gives you that kind of freedom to be right and wrong because your opinion is something that people want to listen to.
Yeah.
And that in itself is pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I think that's probably like my biggest limiting belief because I can't think of any more off the top of my head. Can you?
Your limiting belief.
No, for you.
For
Sorry.
me, yeah, I got heaps, man.
Let's go through them. Well, some of them.
So my biggest limiting belief that I have worked through in the last couple of months is that I don't deserve success. Like I don't deserve winning at a high level.
Okay, why?
It comes down to if I was to be successful, I would need to give up a lot of the things that I currently or what I did.
Mhm.
So I would need to give up scrolling on TikTok for 3 hours a day. I'd have to give up talking shit with my friends for hours on end, all day, every day, playing video games, wasting time. Like, and that's uncomfortable, right?
Mhm.
And if I had to give all that up, like I like a part of me was comfortable. I didn't want to get rid of that, right? And yes, people are going to be like balance and all that kind of shit, but shut the fuck up.
Mm.
For me, if I didn't get out of my own way with that, then the success that I wanted, which required a level of output that I currently wasn't doing,
Mhm.
I would never have gotten it. And
Yeah.
I wanted that more than anything. Like, it's easy to like think you want something, but when your actions don't align with the required actions to actually achieve that thing, it's easy to like tell yourself and gaslight, being like, I'm going to be successful, but my actions don't reflect that. So for me, the fear of success was, I don't want to be uncomfortable enough to break through this. And I have, like in the last couple of months, I have. So like the actions of my everyday are so different to what they were 6 months ago. And now I'm sitting in this position where I'm like, okay, I know what I need to do. I know the level of output. I can't drop the ball because I will revert back to the old ways.
Yeah.
And it's just like eating food, right? It's just like sticking to a diet. I know what I need to do. I know how to get there. And the lies that I tell myself along the way that are going to stop me from getting there are the only things in my way, right? I don't give a fuck who's in Parliament.
No.
I don't give a fuck who is in the news. I don't care what Kanye's saying. Like, no one can be to blame for the work that I haven't put in, right? And for me, if I was to then actually become successful and see success, then it could all be taken away. So working through this now, when I'm like, don't have kids, and I have responsibilities, but they're not to the gravity of like what they could be in 5 years' time, is super important. So my biggest limiting belief was always around that, like enabling myself to be like, no, apply yourself 100%. And if you fail at 100%, that's fine. It's still better than being 20% and being like, oh, I didn't really try.
Yeah, you could have done it.
Yeah, that's because what I always would do. Man, in grade 6, get this, right? In grade 6, do you remember cross country?
Does it look like I do it?
Does look like I do it. I was a lot different in grade 6.
That's true.
So in grade 6, we would have our house colours. I was in green. Always was in green team for some reason. Maybe it's the eyes. And we took off on the oval. And we got to run around, and we'd run outside the school, and there's all the markers, and there was a big hill, right? And halfway up the hill, I pretended to faint so I didn't have to finish the race. I'm not kidding.
I have a story just
straight
like
up.
this story.
I did it in front of the teacher. So she was like, "Oh, what's happened?" I was like, "I've fainted," and I'm on the ground. I'm like, "I've fainted," and she's like, looking at me like, "How the hell are you talking?" And I went to the nurse's office, whatever, and I didn't have to finish the race. And that was because I didn't want to be uncomfortable, because I didn't like running, because it was uncomfortable. Like, that in itself is shit attitude. And that's the first time I can remember doing something like that. And all the way through to being an adult, I know that I carried that with me all the way. And it wasn't until recently when I wanted to actually perform at a level that I needed to perform at to get what I wanted to get, that I needed to address that. And all of that shit that we carry is from a kid anyway. So I've had some big ones. I've had some big limiting beliefs that like you kind of are aware of. Like, it's this voice sitting in the back of your head being like, you're shit.
Yeah.
Don't apply yourself, because if you apply yourself and you give yourself 100% and you fail, then what kind of person are you? And when I realized that the kind of person that I want to be is based not by their accolades and by their attempts, but how they respond when they have applied themselves 100% and get back up.
Yeah, I think taking the risk is more important, or it's bigger than not taking it.
Well, that's like what 90% of people on their deathbed say. I just wish I took the risk.
Yep.
And I don't want to be fucking on the pearly gates and this is what Goggin says, and they hold the list of things up to my face and been like, you could have been all of these things, but you were this.
Yeah.
And if that is a massive disparity, I would be beside myself. So recognizing that and being like, fuck this. I'm going to make a change. I'm going to do something different outside of my realm of what was expected of me and what I expected of me. Because I was just meant to live a corporate life, man. I got into the job that I shouldn't have got into through winging it, and like I made it in. I broke free from that like expectation of everyone else had of me, and I was just meant to sit there and coast for the next 15 to 20 years, and then I don't know, kill myself or something because I would have been so unhappy. Like for sure, I would have done something dumb. I don't know, started drinking more or doing drugs again. Like it's just I had no fulfillment in that role. So like when I left that, I was just like, I may as well.
Yeah.
I may as well fail. And then like you don't just beat like the limiting belief once and it goes away.
It'll come back.
It always comes back.
Yeah.
With every level up,
It's always there.
It's always there. And then but you need to address it before it becomes a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's D&M's with Matt.
Well, I think there's something that you said there where there's two things that I picked up on. Is like,
fuck, only two. I was a pretty long spiel.
There's two main points there. You mentioned something about I think you said something about believing it, and it's like that's it's something about actions. Like you can say everything you want in your head, but if your actions don't back it up, you're not going to get there. And that's my problem with manifesting with stuff. People sit there and they're going to manifest stuff.
I'm gonna get a big bidding off G.
But yeah, that's what it's like manifesting. Yes, I think having positive thoughts in your head all the time is going to help. But if you're not putting in the actions and trying to change those actions to get a better outcome, it's like you can think it all you want. I'm not going to think myself into a fucking Lambo if I'm. I knew you were going to say that. That's all I fucking think about. I'm not going to think myself.
And it hasn't arrived, so go figure.
I got to fucking change I got to rob a bank or something. But yeah, you're not going to sit there and think about doing something and just think and think and think and think and think, and it's just going to happen one day. You need to put actionable steps in place to get to that point.
Reese says this really well. He says, wrap what your customers need with what they think they want, right? Mm-hmm. And what people want to hear is that manifesting is the avenue, is the guide. It's the secret sauce that they never had before. My opinion on manifesting things is all it is it makes you focus on what you want. And if you think about it, you will then eventually think hard enough about getting a Lambo, and then you reverse engineer, well, how the fuck do I actually get a Lambo? That is the manifestation of thought that comes to the point where, okay, this is what I actually want, and this is for the first time I'm actually thinking about what I actually want out of life. Now, how am I going to get there? So with a Lambo, I need about $250,000, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe about $500,000.
Yeah.
For a good one.
Yeah. No, this bottom change shit, mate.
Yeah, $500,000. So how am I going to get $500,000? Well, I need to change my income. Say I'm earning $50,000 a year, I need a significant amount of more money, right? So how am I going to get more money? And, okay, maybe I can do that through starting a business or investing in stocks or investing in real estate. And then you look at that and you're like, okay, well, I need to start a business. So what's the first step? If you manifest like that, then you are, yes, definitely thinking of the end goal and then reverse engineering it, right? But if you just sit there and be like, Lambo.
Yeah. And all this, have your vision board and stuff like that.
All that happens is you say my name long enough, I'm going to come out of your closet and be like, hey.
Yeah.
Lambo.
Yeah. I think for I think my version of quote unquote manifesting is a little bit different. Typically, it's my phone background. And because I see it every day. At the moment, it's like my list of positive and negative traits about myself. Because what we do here at Limestone is we sit down and we openly discuss. Like we write a list. I don't think you were here for it, but we write a list of everyone's positives, and then all their negatives. And then if that negative, someone says something to you, and it's a negative that triggers you, it's probably right. So,
give me an example or something like that.
So like my positive at the moment, like one of my positives is like problem solving or taking initiative. One of my weaknesses is my apparent lack of empathy because of my personality.
My apparent lack of empathy.
Which I contested. We're back. Lack of empathy. I think I push back on this because like I have a pretty blunt personality.
You don't say.
Like it's pretty apparent that I'm just exactly how it is.
To an extent.
Yeah, but I don't lack empathy.
No. Look at your clients, man. Like you're very understanding with them.
Yeah. That's all I wanted to say on that is I don't fucking lack empathy. It pisses me off when people say it.
Well, let's look at empathy. What is empathy? Empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes and try and understand the situation that they're in. It's not, oh, I hope you're okay.
Yeah.
That's like sympathy, if anything.
Mm.
But empathy is being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes and understand. It's not about consoling,
Yeah.
right? It is not about that. It's about me trying to understand your situation and what that would, and how that would impact you, right? So this is something that they taught us at Apple, and it was before Apple. I don't think I was an empathetic person. And Mike Tyson. Before Apple, I didn't think I was an empathetic person at all. I didn't actively think about it, but when you come into like the Genius Bar and stuff like that, they're like, try and understand how the broken phone, whatever it might be, is impacting that person. What is that stopping them from doing? Is it stopping them from running a business? Is it stopping them from making content? Whatever it might be. Once you understand that, and like, it's not, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, it's not that at all. It's understanding, right? And that's where I think you actually do that very well, because as soon as someone comes in here, whether it be staff members, me, whatever, and I'm like, I'm XYZ today, you're like, oh, fuck, that would suck. Like, even if it's a blunt reply, you're still expressing empathy.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say for yourself? You piece of shit.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah. It's like, I think it's something that, it's hard for me to portray that just because of the way I am and how blunt I am with things. It's like, I don't sit there and I don't waste breath if I don't fucking need to.
Yeah. Mental energy, man.
I say what I need to say and that's it. If there's no point saying anything, then I'm just going to sit there in silence.
More people should do that.
Yeah. I completely agree.
There's no need to fill awkward silences.
That's one thing you'll notice that, whenever, like, you've been in the car with Reese and I don't know how, like, Reese and I have just discussed this, like,
me, and a bunch of hats.
Yeah, when I sit in the car and there's nothing to be said, silence. Bree's like, when we first started dating, like, I actively had to try and make conversation.
Are you mad at me?
That's what it's like. It's like, but no, if I don't need to talk about anything, I'm happy just to sit there in silence with music playing.
Yeah.
Don't need to fill empty space. Doesn't need to happen. I'm happy sitting in my own thoughts, just thinking.
There isn't I'm busy having a conversation with myself.
I don't want to talk to you. I'm talking to myself, all right? The voices are talking to me.
The voices are talking to me and I'm learning something, so that's when it's dangerous. It was really funny. Like, I got in the car this morning and I was like, okay, time to film a vlog, whatever. And I was like having a conversation with myself, like deep conversation. Now I realized I was driving and I was just disassociating. And I realized there was no music on. It was just dead silent.
I do it all the time.
And I was like, this is calming.
No, I do it all the time.
Yeah.
This is something that I do a lot on the way to work, is I won't have music playing. There are days where I'm like kind of up and about and I'll have music playing and I'll come into work. But then there are especially times on the way home where I just sit and think and just plan.
And decompress.
Yeah.
Man, it's so important. But like, filling space with words that don't mean anything is useless anyway, right? There's like, if you're having a good conversation, sure, talk a lot. But like with Emily and I, my partner, we sit in the car and sometimes we just listen to music or we don't talk or whatever. And it is so comfortable in that silence because we're so comfortable with each other. And even then, like when I'm working with you in here sometimes, like we don't talk, like there's no need to talk. We're busy.
Yeah.
And like, or if you're training or whatever it might be, if someone was to just come from the outside and see you like not talking, they'd be like, why is he being rude? That's not at all being rude. That's just like who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think it's, for a lot of people, that's uncomfortable. I've never been like that. I've never been a very loud, outgoing person when I don't need to be.
Until people get to know you.
Yeah, that's also another point.
Like if you listen to this podcast, people would be like, oh, if they met you in person, they'd be like, oh, you're a little bit different. You're like, I don't know you.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when we have new employees coming in. By the time this goes out, they'll be announced, so it's fine. If not, after we record this, I'll ask Reese. But if not, I'll cut this bit out. But yeah, they what are you doing?
Breathing into the mic.
When they back to like when I do my drive homes, especially if I've had something big happen at work, those drive homes get very emotional for me.
Really?
Yep. Numerous times I have driven home and cried.
No shit.
Because not out of upset, because I can see we're on the road to success.
That's crazy.
That's the only time I ever get emotional about stuff.
That's huge.
Not like out of the fucking reason that I'm just like what's Asperger's or whatever, where I just don't get emotional about anything. But they're the things out of everything that make me the most emotional. Is when I can see that we're on the right path to success.
Did you just self-diagnose yourself with Asperger's?
Oh, my uncle has it, and I'm exactly like my uncle.
Oh, okay, so you've got Asperger's.
I've definitely got some. I'm autistic on some level of the spectrum,
That's
definitely.
all
Another thing that you mentioned was
Goody, talk about me more.
do you think you have an addictive personality? Because this probably the worst person to ask, to be honest with you. But something that I've noticed with any high level achiever is, I don't know who said it, but they don't have addictive personalities, they have obsessive personalities. Where do you feel like you sit between the two? Because I'm definitely obsessive.
Okay, so I probably range. I don't want to give one clear-cut answer because it's not going to be entirely truthful, because some things I'm very addictive with, some things I'm obsessive with. So, for example, I am addicted still. Well, yes and no. I can get addicted to food very easily because I'm not obsessed with eating. I am addicted to the way that eating makes me feel.
Yep.
And I'm working on this. Like this, you're never perfect with this kind of stuff. So when I'm not conscious of it, I will just stand at the pantry and just eat anything inside. Literally anything I will eat. Last night I was eating corn thins that'd been there for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They taste the same as when they start, to be honest. But like I'll just unconsciously eat. So that's what I would call addiction, because you're not consciously aware of how to stop it.
Yep.
And mind you, these days I'm pretty good at stopping it. Like I'm good at stopping, like jumping in and being like, and into myself and being like, hey, wait a minute, you don't need to do this. Okay, cool. I'm obsessed with other things. I'm obsessed with goals. So I get very goal orientated. But if I look at that, I don't know that I'm actually obsessed with the outcome of the goal. I'm obsessed with how achieving the goal makes me feel. So like the dopamine, I get obsessed with dopamine. ADHD, undiagnosed, that kind of stuff.
We just diagnose ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck
Asperger's
doctors.
and ADHD.
Fuck doctors. Every doctor I've ever had has been fat, so why would I listen to him about anything regarding my health?
It's true though.
Yeah. Back to it.
So I get obsessed with that. So the dopamine release of achieving something. So whether I look back at my life and I look at like playing musical instruments, I look at video games, I look at training, I look at jiu-jitsu, I look at building businesses. They all have something in common.
Yep.
They're really hard to do. Like they're really hard to get good at. And they are constantly challenging, but they have enough little rewards that the dopamine is there.
Yep.
So I become obsessed with the process of that. And for me, like that is where I would lean myself towards, an obsessive personality, but not addicted, because I can stop working.
Yeah.
When I get like too tired and I need to sleep in or go to sleep, I will go to sleep. I am obsessed with the outcome, and I know that I will be better if I sleep.
Yep.
Whereas someone who is addicted to work will work through till 4 a.m.
Yep.
What have you. Kudos. But that's not me. So addictive in the sense of, yes, to food, and if I didn't catch myself a couple of years to going out and drinking and stuff,
Yeah.
that I have an addictive personality in that, because I just want more. But essentially they do the same thing. They release dopamine.
One is just a healthier form of releasing than the other.
Well, one of them is very quick. You can get dopamine really quick by going out and having fun with your friends, right? Which is important, but if you do it frequently, it's kind of like loses its stick. One of them is really quick dopamine. One of them is slow. For me, I get obsessed with the things that are slow, because I'm like, oh, it's like the suffering is beautiful in that sense. Like it because there's so much work that goes into these things, and video games is the same, man. I don't know if you've ever played League of Legends. It's fucking hard to get good at that game.
No.
I played it for 5 years, pretty much religiously. I never got good at it. Still wood 5, bronze or whatever. Like I would spend so much time because I just wanted to have one good game or like one good play, and then like that would then snowball into multiple good games. Like that for me is more appealing than going out and drinking or doing drugs or whatever. So like that to me, not addictive, more obsessive. So obsess on the things that are the long-term gain, but at the same time, it has to be something I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Because like, I am not obsessed with building a house.
No.
But building a house would be the same principle, like
Rewarding.
over
You see it get built.
lots of manual effort because you see it get built.
Mm.
For me, that does not appeal to me at all. So it has to be something that I'm tied to.
Yeah.
And I would never get addicted to just long-term dopamine hits in something that if it was boring.
Yeah.
So like, what's another? Yeah, building a house is a good one.
Mm.
Like, I just don't give a fuck, man. But
pay
also,
someone.
also like, yeah, exactly. Like running.
Yeah.
I have yet to find it where because that is very much a long-term dopamine hit. Like, you have to push past a certain point to get to runners high.
Yep.
And for me, like, that just is uncomfortable and I don't like it, so I don't do it.
No. Yeah. I think I'm on the same thing as you. I think with my history of playing games is fucking, what am I now, 24? Maybe 15 years, give or take, probably, of just constant video games.
Yeah.
I think mine is different in a sense that I was probably addicted to it. Now that I think about it a little bit more, give or take, depending on what phase of my life I was in. But that's because I didn't have anything else to do.
I was going to say, do you reckon you were addicted to it by pure circumstance? Like, there's nothing else to do, man, so I'll just play some games. I am fucking 16.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah, I didn't like sport. I didn't like going out. Like, I could probably count the amount of times I've gone out. It's probably like maybe 10 times.
Mm.
I didn't go out when I was 18. None of that stuff. It just didn't interest me. I think it was, yeah, you're right. It was purely just due to circumstance. And now that I'm older and I have a fucking job and other responsibilities, I still play games. I don't play them as much as I did, which probably means I wasn't actually not addicted to it. It was more of like, I played it a lot because I enjoyed it. And I don't know if it was for the dopamine hit or it was just because I had nothing else to do. And it was like something I was passionate about. So like, yeah.
There's have you seen the rats with cocaine study?
I've probably, but explain it to
So
me.
there's a study with rats that are given cocaine, right? And they're in an isolated environment, and a lot of them just like smack the cocaine button and get as much of it as possible because they're just in a box,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then they eventually kill themselves from overdosing.
Mm.
Yeah. If you put those same rats in an environment where they can build community, there's other rats and there's like tasks for them to do, and there's like they can like reward themselves with food and like run on a fucking spinner thing. They don't get addicted to the cocaine, right? They do it a little bit, but they don't get fully addicted.
Yep.
I'm butchering this story, by the way, but you can look it up. The thing there is like, as a teenager and as an early adult, you had video games as a source of dopamine. You hammered that because you're like dopamine, accomplishment. But as you get older, you've found satisfaction in business, satisfaction more so in training, in coaching, in a relationship, a healthy relationship. Abe, your dog, like there's all of these other things where you can challenge yourself to a point where you're like, oh, okay, well, I don't need to play games as much because I'm getting my hits from elsewhere. Because I guarantee there's times where you've come home from being really productive at work and have accomplished a lot of things, and you're like, oh, I just want to sit down and just go to bed.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
The need to play games isn't there. And I know for myself, when I'm like craving playing video games, it's usually because I'm stagnating in some area of my life. Like I'm like, oh, well, I'm not progressing in business, or I'm not progressing in my personal development, or whatever it might be. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just numb my brain for a bit with video games and get some dopamine. And that's when I'll update my PlayStation, play 3 games, and be like, I suck at Fortnite.
You're probably right in a sense there. I didn't think of it like that, but now that you mention it, whenever I go, I don't play World of Warcraft anymore because that was a fucking addiction. That was bad. That was like to go back, like during lockdown. This is when I first started seeing Brie. She would come over, and I would, because she plays games as well, not as much as I do, but she does play games.
Does she have the new Pokemon game?
Nah, she wants a Switch. She wanted a Switch for Christmas. Christmas.
She wanted it for Christmas.
She wanted
She wasn't a good girl. She didn't get it. Santa Claus, she knew.
she wanted one for Christmas, and I'm like, I'm not spending $450 on a
I thought
Switch.
they were like $250.
Nah, they're so expensive. Like, you're not getting that to play. She wanted to play Bratz, and I was like, it's not fucking
Bratz?
happening. Yeah,
She wanted to play Bratz.
yeah. I played Bratz on PlayStation 2. It's
What?
a fucking good game. But
Really?
yeah, it was a good game. Yeah, it was my sister's, but I played the shit out of it. All right. We're not going to talk about that. But during lockdown, when I first got into World of Warcraft,
Wow.
Oh yeah, it was like it would be like cool. I would get up at 8. I would make breakfast, shower, wow till 4 a.m.
Jesus Christ.
and I would sleep for 5 hours, and I would get up and I would do it all over again.
On to the next one.
Yeah, and then as I got out of lockdown, I started working for Limestone. That progressively got better. Then it would go back to where it's like, cool, like it's quite a period of work where I should have doubled down on actually working. Instead, it was like, I'll just play WoW.
Well, look at that, right? So going into lockdown, what did lockdown rob us all of?
The ability to go out and do anything.
Community.
We were the rats in the cage.
We lost the element of community.
Well, here's the thing. I think to an extent, video games gave you that sense of community.
If you'd let me finish my fucking sentence.
I stole the point.
Yeah, so 100%. It robbed you of your community. So during that time, people looked to groups in some facet, whether it be online or whatever it might be, to then feel that element of connection. Because humans, at the end of the day, are social creatures, and we do work in tribes and packs. Like it's just, you just look at it. Look at groups that everyone's a part of a group, even if it's the incels on the line on fucking B.
Yeah.
Like they're a part of a group.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. Fucking Andrew Tate is a really good example of that. He gave community to fucking incels as well. What, am I cancelled now? What did I do? But that's the thing. Like, but even like look at progressive movements, all that kind of stuff. People are just grouping.
Gives community.
It gives community. It gives a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
And I've drawn this conclusion many a times in my personal life. That I've had these kind of conversations is that people, all they want is community. So that's why religion is so popular. That's why sports is so popular. That's why like hobbies are so popular. Like a really good one is climbing, like
Rock climbing.
Rock climbing.
Yeah.
People love rock climbing. It becomes their entire life. People love jiu-jitsu. It becomes their entire life.
Yeah.
People love fucking Christianity and Buddhism. It becomes their entire life. Like that is just, we just want a fucking reason to justify why the fuck was I put here.
Yeah, we're social creatures.
We're social creatures, and we work better in tribes. And when you get isolated from that, is when problems start to occur. Like if you, no fucking wonder a lot of us struggled during COVID with food and social social interaction and all that kind of shit, because we were put in a room and be like, don't go outside, don't do anything, don't connect with people, and stay.
What was that?
The fuck was that? Do we have a doorbell?
No. I don't know what that was. Oh, well, there was some music playing. It's a bit fucking creepy. The gym's haunted. But no, I think you are right in a sense of this is kind of going a little bit off topic for limiting beliefs, but I still think it has some aspect in terms of mental health. But the whole video game thing, as weird as it may sound to people, I've got friends that I've played games with that I coincidentally met in a lobby playing a game for maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
That I probably speak to the same amount I speak to you and Reese.
Shit.
Yeah. So I think it gave me a sense of like interaction with people during lockdown, but at the same time, I'm like counter to most popular beliefs that people hated lockdown. I actually kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it at all. I didn't I had no obligation to go out and be social.
Yeah.
Like I would go, Reese would, I don't know how strict they are on the fucking talking about flog and lockdown laws, but Reese was my boss at the time, so it was a work trip. I would go to Reese's house for any kind of outside, or I'd go to Bree's house she would come to my house for any kind of social interaction, all that kind of stuff. But I didn't hate it. I got given free money that I had to give back on tax, but I got given free money.
Wait, what? You had to give it back on tax?
Yeah, it was taxable income.
The $750.
Because I was a small business owner.
Oh no, that's different. Yeah.
ABN fucking gave me free money that I had to pay back on tax.
How much did you get?
Like 25 grand.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I pissed it all away.
I didn't know about that.
I
could have got that too.
Yeah, because they shut down gyms, I was affected. My income was affected.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I got that. I got to stay at home and play games. I got to stay at home and online coach, and then I got my social interaction through games, and then seeing the two people that I see most days anyway.
Yeah.
So surprisingly, I didn't hate it that much. I fucking went for a long time. By the end of it, I was like, I'm ready to go back to the gym and train the fucking gym. But the whole like missing out on going out to dinner and going out to clubs, I didn't give a fucking shit about that.
Yeah.
I got fat because I ordered Uber Eats every day.
Yeah, it is what it is, my boy.
But yeah, that was my little rant about lockdown. It's old news now. I don't really give a fucking shit about it. To be honest with you.
no.
People still bring it up every day, but I don't fucking care.
Man, it's the thing that they've replaced talking about the weather with.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember them fucking lockdowns?
Remember those fucking lockdowns? They were so bad. Yeah. Anyway,
Mm.
this has been the Lionstone podcast.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And we will see you next week.
Yeah, make sure you go like on YouTube, subscribe. We want to try and hit 2K by,
Christmas.
oh, that's like 3 weeks. Oh, that's like 3 weeks. I got to go fucking present shopping, guys.
Holy shit, I've already done mine.
Oh, I'm bad at it. But all right, guys, we'll see you next week.
Like, follow, subscribe, share with this if someone you know has limiting beliefs and needs me to talk them out of it.
And video games.
And video games.
Bye.